Hello everyone, I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, or actually, you know what, scrap that, even better. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. In today's video, I want to talk about one thing that Plarium doesn't want you to know. And that is the misconception around player power and team power. Now, if you're an OG player, you might already know how the player power works in Raid, guys. And if you're a new player, this video is gonna clarify everything that you need to know. The reason why I'm saying it is that Plarium doesn't want you to know is because it's a massive misconception around player power, team power, how exactly it works, what exactly determines the power just all around, you know. And the misconception comes from people constantly putting it in comments. Oh my god, that team power was so much higher than mine and I managed to beat him, or this guy managed to beat me as well, he had a much weaker team power. And the main idea is, if you're playing any other game, team power matters, because you're gonna go over to arena as an example, and you're gonna look, okay, so this guy right here has a team power of 210k, I have 381k, I'm gonna smash him. That's how other games work. In Raid, team power equals nothing. Team power means nothing. So I'm gonna explain you why exactly is that and what exactly inflates the team power or the player power of an account. So basically, resistance, crit rate are the main factors that will give you a high team power. Now, I'm not sure why exactly Plarium decided to kind of like code the game in this way, but in a way it's useful. Let's just say I'm gonna go in arena and find a guy that has 500 plus k team power. That will mean 100% it has at least 2 champions, if not more, on very high resistance. So what do I take from all that? Okay, I'm gonna use an accuracy lead and just deal with the problem in that way, basically, you know. So the misconception of team power being important in Raid is actually just constantly spreading around. I just wanted to clarify, guys, team power literally means nothing in Raid. So back in the day, I used to have a list which kind of like explained everything in detail, how much power you're getting for each one of the stats, but unfortunately I cannot find it anymore, and it seems like nobody else has it. And like 3 years ago, was not really much to compete in the game, was no Platinum Arena or anything like that, so the main thing that people were kind of like competing for were top 1 clan, you know, and the top 1 clan is decided by power. So guess what everybody was doing back in the day? Everybody was pushing resistance and crit rate on all their vault champions to inflate their account power. If you're paying attention to mine, we have 28.6 million power. Now, I do want to mention half of my champions, if not more than half, they have no gear whatsoever, okay? I have so many champions at level 60 or very close to it. They might not even be at level 60 just yet, because they're in the process, 50, 55, all these 44 levels. They have no gear on them, you know, like most of them, they literally have no gear. So I'm not gaining power from this. One day, when I'm gonna get the time to put gear on all the champions, which I definitely need to do badly, my power probably will skyrocket from the 28 to 35, maybe even 40 million. And that's without even trying to go on resistance and crit rate. I want to explain you how exactly to get that done. Now, the main question is, Skratch, why would I even bother with player power? Does it even matter? Honestly, not really. The only reason why I would see somebody to inflate their power at the moment will be maybe because they want to get into a better clan. Let's just say X clan has a player power limit of 10 million, you have 9.5 million, and you really want to get in that clan, so getting 500k power on your account is easy basically to get it done. Or they want to inflate their power to have the highest power in the entire game, and trust me, there are these people with 60 plus million power on their accounts. You're not gonna do it just by having champions without inflating their power, you know. So that's not just a natural power on the account, it's actually them inflating their power with tons of resistance, tons of crit rate on their champions, and just chucking them in the vault. Of course, empowerment and all the rest of the things add to it 100%, don't get me wrong. Now, what I'm going to show you today, guys, is how everything affects the power on your champions, and why you don't really have to worry so much about team power when you're seeing that in arena, unless it's a very high team power and you need to know, okay, they have resistance, I'm gonna need my Madame series, maybe I need an accuracy lead, maybe I need a champion that increases accuracy to ensure that I'm gonna win the fight. That's kind of like the only thing that plays out. Back in the day when we used to do Platinum Arena, and top 20s always used to be very competitive, right? Like people play mind games, we used to do tons of different things. We used to change champions around. For example, we have two different duchesses, right? One is fast, one is on resistance. In the last 15 minutes, I constantly used to change them. So you are attacking me now thinking that is a high resistance team. Bang, surprise, it's not that team anymore. So that's why we always needed to keep an eye on power when we were attacking the same opponents, because we always used to play mind games or hegemons. CC hegemon, moving to damage hegemon. That was kind of like probably one of the most common thing. So the power of this rare champion at the moment is 3643. When we are ascending champions, when we are booking champions, we are gaining power. So for example, if we're gonna go at the tavern and we're gonna go right here, let's ascend this champion to 3-star, right? And we're gonna see how much power we're gonna gain from it. Okay, that should be done. Okay, then if we're gonna quickly go back after to book it, first we're gonna check the power from ascending the champion. So from 3643, right now I have 3709 power, and that's because I ascended the champion. So you see that added more power to my champion. Then if I'm gonna book the champion, so let's just waste some rare books. Luckily CVC, so I'm gonna gain tons of points. Let's see where we are. 12 books just wasted like this. Tons of points in CVC though. I'm loving it. Look at that. 8k points. I'm about to smash them all. So let's see the power now on this champion. So right now is 5182. You see the books, they added a lot of power to my champion. So booking champions and versus not having booked champions is quite a bit of a difference. Like we gained 1000 power just from booking the champion. Now, if we're gonna go back to the one that is actually not ascended, not booked, 3643 power. So what I've done, I actually went in and farmed some super OP common gear, which is 1-star, just because it's kind of like easier to get the values. So 4 attack, right? That's what we gained from equipping this piece of gear. We equipped that and we gained 10 more power. So from 3643 we went to 3653 power. That's how much 4 attack or 4 defense means, okay? 10 power. If we're gonna make the set complete, so if we're gonna add a shield, so this 4 defense will give me 10 more power, but I want to see how much power I'm actually gaining from the 12% crit rate, right? So you've seen we added the 12% crit rate and we went up in power almost by 170 or so. Now, I'm not doing quick maths right now basically, but around there approximately, so a bit under 200. And that's just by adding 12 crit rate. For example, if we're gonna remove this, right, let's just see the resistance. So 12 crit rate will roughly give you 170 plus power by having it on a champion. If we're gonna go to resistance, so resistance is the ultimate best thing that will give you tons and tons of power. So right here we have this 40 resistance on the weapon, okay? And for attack, we already know that's 10 power. We're gonna add the shield. So how much is 40 resistance? 40 resistance is almost 550 or around there when we are talking about power. So if you're thinking about it, what you're getting from 10 resistance, around 140 power, right? Or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 140 power approximately for 10 resistance. The reason why I'm showing you this, guys, is because a lot of times I'm seeing it in the comments. Skratch, how can you have so much power on one of your champions? It's more than my entire team. So I want to explain you guys, because I know so many of you have no idea how this works. And I don't know why Plarium is not actually explaining it in the game, why it's kind of like a secret all around. But basically I have these Duchess as an idea. 221k power, right? The main thing that gives her so much power is the resistance. So total stats on this Duchess, 107k HP, almost 108k HP, 1.9k attack, 4,800 defense, almost 4,900, 169 speed, 35 crit rate, 96 crit damage, 901 resistance, 206 accuracy. So that resistance gives me a lot of power. That's why a lot of times you're gonna go to the dwarf faction, for example. And let me just quickly give you a couple of examples. Mountain King. Mountain King will be one of those champions that will always have a very high power. Why? Because he already starts directly with 90 resistance, guys. So let me just move my big head out of the way so you can see the base stats. You see resistance 90 on Mountain King. Or if you're looking at Brogni, for example, he starts with 90 resistance too. The dwarves, they tend to have more power than any other champion in the game, and that's mainly because of the stats that they are having in terms of base stats. Higher resistance than anyone else, you know. And that's basically how power works. You see 180k, and that's mainly because I have 827 resistance on this champion on a shield set, and 100k HP next to it, and tons of different things. Mountain King on a bolster, he's built for damage, and I don't have much resistance, only 273, but I have 122k HP, and he still has 131 power alone, right? 131k power, my bad. Now, if we're going back at these Duchess, 221 with 900 resistance. If I'm gonna drop the chess piece from here, so let's remove this chess piece. Let's remove the banner. So we dropped 220, 25 resistance more or less, right? Look at the power. So from the 221k, we dropped to 158, man. We dropped 60k plus power just by dropping the banner and by dropping the chestplate, without dropping all the other pieces that have all these rolls on resistance, you know. Like, it is pretty crazy all around how much resistance, how the resistance actually inflates the power on your champions. And the next best thing after resistance is by getting the crit rate up on your champions, you know. So hopefully this kind of like explains it, guys, how power works in raid. Power is not the thing that defines a fight. It's not the thing that defines if you're gonna win or you're gonna lose against a specific team. A lot of times, how I mentioned, I see you guys commenting, my god, I had 500k power and I attacked this guy with 200k power and I got smashed. Yes, it can happen any time because it's all about champions, what they're doing, mechanics. Like this champion, this team, for example, sorry, not champion. He has a Lady Kimi. If he would have a Madame series and would go in with a team of 250k power, instead of Hegemon, you have Madame series, and you go against a team that has 550k power, I'm gonna buff my accuracy on Madame series. It doesn't matter how much resistance you have, I'm gonna strip you. Tranda is gonna nuke you, put you to sleep with half of my team power. You get it? So the misconception of team power matters is just not right, you know. So I just kind of like wanted to clarify it for you guys. And if by any chance any of you guys were curious on how to get a bigger player power, an account power for yourself here, you can always come and kind of like check the player info right here, and it shows you champion power 5.8 million, artifact power 10.2 million. Now another thing to keep in mind here with the artifacts and the champion power, the artifacts that are not equipped on champions, they don't count towards your artifact power. Okay, so basically that power comes only when you're equipping the artifacts on champions. The ones that are in the inbox, they're not actually increasing your power. You see, affinity bonus power, which you can't really see because of my big head, is everything that we're getting from the Great Hall. So my Great Hall gives me almost 5 million power on my account, and that's every single stat that is being added to all the champions that I have on the account. The more fodders I have on the account, so think about my inbox right now. My vault, sorry, not inbox, are not full. So the reserve vault still has 9 slots. I can still fit 40 plus in here. I can still get 100 more on my main vault right here, which is the main page actually. So by adding all those champions to the account, I'm gonna increase my account power because the Great Hall will already start and giving them stats. And then if I decide to level them up to level 30, rank them to 4-star, level them up to 40 to do my chickens, that will give me even more power. And that's why when you have a champion training event or tournament, you're constantly seeing your power going up and down, you know, because you're leveling up champions, you're feeding champions, and so goes on basically. But I just kind of like wanted to touch on this topic, guys, drop some clarification for whoever was curious. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to smash that like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Plus, it really helps me a lot, guys. And make sure you're clicking on the bell to turn on all notifications so you won't be missing any of the future uploads. That was all for today's video, guys. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.